Hello friends, I welcome you all on my channel and this is Urmisha Patel, and today in this video we are going to explore few methods on how to pivot your data in Tableau Desktop. So for this I'm using GDP per capita dataset, and here are these fields belonging to this GDP per capita dataset. They are country code, country name, income group, region. And if you see some measured names, they are like 1960, 1961, 1962, and this goes till 2017. So you have understood correctly that they are actually representing yearly based data. So instead of one column, we are having individually year based data. So when you want to use a field name as a data to figure out like a trend on which particular year there was a highest GDP per capita or lowest GDP per capita, or how this total GDP per capita for that, all such kind of questionnaires or the query that you want to figure out or want to solve, in that scenario you need to pivot your data. So let's see how to pivot this in Tableau Desktop in few simple steps. So go to your data source, and here you will see this as your metadata. So metadata is actually like type, field name, physical table, and the remote field name. So from this you can easily make this pivoting your data. So how to do is simply select those fields which you want to pivot. So right now we want to pivot all these specific yearly based data and want to make it as a single column as a year. But just making you clarify, we are just trying to make that this is GDP per capita. So every year whatever the data that is specifying is actually the income. So we can possibly say this is what exactly the data set is going to be. So we can just imagine based on that. So what you need to first do is simply select the year from which you want to start pivoting. So right now is 1960. Select this and press on shift key. Once you do, now select all the other year like till 2017. Once you select that, anywhere from this field name there is a downward arrow, click on this and here select the pivot. Once you do, you will find all these field names have been shrunk and come to this two field name. One is a pivot field names and another one is a pivot field value. So this pivot field name is actually the year, the field names that we have put it in one place, or let's say in one column. So in the field name it was 1960, 1961, 1962, which means they are the year. So what this pivot field name becomes like, it's actually an year column. So I will just double click on this and then I'll rename this field as year. You can simply click on that and you will have your renaming done. But you can do this by simply clicking this downward arrow and you will find this rename option as well. So you can choose either of that method. But one more thing, when it comes to year should be represented, or it was actually the numbers, right? So for that you can select on this data type and change this and make it as a whole number, because if you choose a date it will make it in month, year, and the day itself. So this is not the right way or correct way to represent, because here it's just we are defining for the year. So it's better we choose number as a whole, and that's how this year has been defined. Now what about for this pivot field values? They are actually the values which are what this data type are all about, like GDP per capita. So we can assume as this year is actually defining what was the income at that time. So let's rename this by that other option. Instead of just double clicking, I'll go to this more option and here click on this rename. So from this highlighted, I'll change this as income and click on OK. And from this data type I'll select the decimal. Why? Because the incomes can be in some fractions, so I'll better choose a number decimal. But yeah, Tableau is very smart enough, so it select by itself. So that's how in a few simple clicks from your metadata you can make a change and do the pivoting. This is one of that method. Now we'll explore the second method, which is most popularly and everyone are following that method. And that's it, directly from your data. So again, back to your data source, you will see there are some data here which is actually representing what is there within your data file. So if I show you here directly from this file, it's a country name, country code, region, income group, and these are those years that we want to pivot, like 1960, 1961, 1962, and it goes up to till 2017. So what we need to do is we need to pivot all this, right? So this is the same representation we can have here in your data source, well, just from this country name, country code, and also this will show you the top 100 rows from that file. So what you need to do is just scroll over to those columns that you want to pivot. So here, as we want to pivot from 1960, so click on this, and same as we did earlier in the metadata, select and press shift, and now scroll down to till which are the year you want to pivot. So here we want to do till 2017. So we'll select that 2017 by continuously pressing your shift key. Once you do, you will see all those years have been selected, and now from this more option, select pivot. And here you have your two columns. One is pivot field names and the pivot field values. So this pivot field names are actually the year that we have merged and make the use of that column names as to the row values. So here we will rename by going to this more option, and from this select rename, and now I'll rename this as year, same what we did in the metadata method. And then from this ABC, once we'll select, we don't want this default option, we want to have this because this is just a number, so we'll select here as a number as a whole, not as a decimal. So this is how the year is done. So as we know that this is what the data type is populating, so this we can assume as an income for that year. So this field values we can change it and we'll rename this as an income. So this is what we possibly assume with that. So double click on this, and now I'll name it as income. So let's check what exactly the data type is. So we'll select here and we'll see the number as a decimal, and which is correctly selected by Tableau, as it is very smart. You know that after decimal, anything we have in the numbers, it is by default should be the number decimal. So that's how we explored here the two different methods on how to pivot your data in Tableau Desktop. I hope you like this video. For more such video, please subscribe to my channel. Until then, happy learning.